Let it go この決意アンブレイカボー愛する世界に不正なアクセス許さないぜターゲットロックオン今すぐ出動 It's moving time 飛び込め危機の最前線シャットダウン完了特命戦隊ゴーダスターズ
Disclaimer, I am aware that Sonic Generations has loads of reviews on YouTube. Do I care? Hell no! It's time to review Sonic Generations for the Xbox 360. If you've been around my channel for the last 2 or 3 months, then you'll know that Sonic the Hedgehog is one of my all-time favorite franchises, and since this is Blue Blur's 20th anniversary, how does his newest entry stand amongst the others? Well, let's find out. Sonic Generations starts, appropriately enough, at Sonic's birthday party with his friends, when suddenly they are all abducted by a strange entity named the Time Eater, who wishes to make a banquet out of all reality. After being sent to a white space filled with places from previous games, Sonic meets himself in the past, classic Sonic, back when he was pot-bellied and his eyes weren't dyed green yet. The two find out that their mega fast speed is actually returning life to the places they're traveling through. Yes, people, apparently the Sonic games are now running on the same batshit crazy logic that brought about the ending for the 1977 Superman movie. So it's up to the two Sonics to return color to their world, rescue their friends, and defeat the Time Eater. Sonic Generations is basically a platformer with 2 different gameplay styles, classic and modern. Classic Sonic is essentially the same gameplay from the original Mega Drive games that we all know and love, and the modern gameplay is the 2D/3D platforming hybrid from Sonic Unleashed and Colors. For classic Sonic, the A and B buttons jump, pressing down on the left thumbstick or D-pad while running activates the spin dash, and holding down X or pressing down and mashing A activates the super spin dash. For modern Sonic, the A button jumps and a homing attack can be activated by pressing A in midair, the B button can be used to slide under low surfaces, and X activates the Sonic boost. The left and right bumpers are used for the quick step, which is pretty self-explanatory, and the left and right triggers activate the spin dash drift. The objective of each level is to get to the end, and at the end of each level, you earn points, which can be used to upgrade yourself or get new abilities in the skill shop. When you complete all 3 zones in an era, the challenge acts are activated. They're basically optional challenges with 10 per zone, 5 for classic Sonic and 5 for modern Sonic, but you'll need to complete at least 1 challenge per zone to be able to get the boss key, and you'll need to get all 3 in an era to fight that era's boss to get to the levels of the next era. The overall goal of the game is to get the 7 Chaos Emeralds. You get 3 for defeating the boss of each of the 3 areas, you get 3 for defeating the rival of each of the 3 areas, and 1 more for completing all of the zones. In each level, there are 5 red rings hidden throughout that, when collected, will give you extra artwork of the game's level and even concept art from the original games, and even music tracks from the previous games, which if you want can be played instead of the main track of the levels. Believe me, you have not lived until you've raced a doppelganger while playing the original Supersonic racing track in the background. You can also unlock more of these by ringing the bell above the challenge act case. Also, when you collect all 5 rings in a level, you get an all-new skill that you can get at the skill shop, which is exclusive. Let me just start the downsides part by saying that some of the challenge acts, while not that bad, certainly are annoying to get through, and the hints for some of the partner missions aren't properly explained at times, which can lead to a few irritating bits where you try to figure out what the hell you're meant to do. Also, if you're a bit of a perfectionist, it can get really annoying when you keep missing a certain jump a million times if you want to get a perfect run through the level. Honestly, the only level that I really don't like that much is Speed Highway from Sonic Adventure. Yes, I know a lot of people like that level, but a lot of the time the stage just annoyed the hell out of me, more so than a lot of other levels. And on that incidental note, I think Crisis City is a little bit underrated. And I would have really preferred Windy Valley or Red Mountain to be representing Sonic Adventure. Actually, that's another complaint. I understand that the challenge acts make up for this, but why are there only 9 zones when there were tons of levels from the franchise that could have been used? At the very least, you could have had 2 zones per game. Another thing that kind of bugs me is the Sonic the Hedgehog emulation. Yes, you can actually get an emulation of the original game. However, it's probably the worst emulation I've seen. There's nothing bad about it, but how do I put this? Let's see. You can't put in the cheat codes. You can't save. You have to go through the game in one long run. Yeah, that's pretty annoying. However, the worst thing about the game, in my opinion, is the final boss time meter. I won't go into detail about it, but I will say that it's honestly the worst final boss I've ever encountered in the franchise. You really have no idea what to do until after you've died several times. And even then, you still depend on luck, and it's still very annoying. In any case, the game's still very fun. The first thing I should mention, though, is that the graphics are fan-frigging-tastic. The environments are so lovely to look at, particularly the reimaginings of older levels, and the character models have just, they're really good. And speaking of that, my favorite character in the entire game is probably classic Sonic, because his animations are very charming, and his overall design is great. There's also the fact that he plays nearly enough like his original self, and the controls are still just as great as they were back then. And if you want to know what my favorite level throughout the entire game is, it would probably be Sky Sanctuary. Of course, I can't review a Sonic game without mentioning the soundtrack, and I'll say that 95% of the soundtrack is just awesome, and that's not even including the tracks from previous games, which are also great, including the remastered tracks from the Mega Drive games. The story, well, not as good as Colors, has a few good jokes in it, and the voice cast is the best out of all the casts I've heard over the years. I really like how the challenge acts just add loads of new levels, and some of them are actually more fun than the level they're based on. And it's great that the levels are fully explorable like the original Sonics, with multiple tiers to go through, making the levels very, very, very replayable. And of course, there's so much nostalgia in a lot of factors about the game, such as the music that plays over the challenge missions, the Collection Room's remix of Door into Summer from Knuckles Chaotix, and even elements from levels that didn't get into levels that are in the game, such as elements of Hydrocity Zone getting into Seaside Hill Zone, which by the way is a hell of a fun level. And as you figured, I love playing the game, it's just so fun. Sonic Generations is a great game with wonderful graphics, incredibly kick-ass music, loads of nostalgia, many places to explore, fun challenge acts, and awesome levels. My only complaints are that some of the challenge acts are annoying, Speed Highway is an annoying level, the final boss is terrible, and that there really could have been more levels. In any case, this game's still very fun. Sonic Generations gets a Saints Row on my rating system, meaning great, but is held back by a few problems. It also gets an all formats recommendation, meaning that if you find it on any format, unless that particular version is buggy, get it.